Yeah, I know that this is kind of different, but I had to take it back to the beginnings in order for me to, understand where he came from. You dig? This is Childish Gambino. I think his very first project he did, entitled "Sick Boy," and on this project, you definitely can see that he was just basically trying things out, sounds, different instruments, features. Far as the crew that's on this project, far as the artists, they was like a crew, a writing crew, basically when they wrote for the shows he was on and things of that nature. So it definitely showed he started out, basically heavy influenced by Wayne. He was heavily influenced by Little Wayne, and I'm kind of glad he decided to find his own style, flow, own production and content, because honestly, he's in everybody top 10, and if he ain't, you just dumb as fuck and don't understand creative music. But anyway, this project, it's a free album, but let's just call it a mixtape. Got 12 songs. Some of the features on here: Amber Petty, MC Chris, Eugene Cordero, Chess Congress or Congress, um, DC, and Nick Packyard. Definitely a different group of people. And this project probably is not the most illest project, but you see the potential. It starts off with the first track entitled "Easy." It's the intro. I fuck with that. Moving on to Fire, second track, I really couldn't get with that. That was just, a little weird, not my cup of tea. I'm a Winner featuring Amber Petty, dope record, man. The production, her vocals on it was pretty amazing. I appreciate it. Going on to True Dudes number 4 featuring MC Chris, I just couldn't get with it. Yeah, not the best song there. Definitely see he really stopped playing around with the music and started taking it serious about the time Cul-de-sac came out. You definitely can tell. But moving on to Red Alert, I enjoy how different that song was. I definitely, the melodies, the production, the vocals, the instruments, it just was a cool record, man. I definitely appreciate that. Moving on to Love is Crazy featuring Eugene, number 6. No, I just couldn't rock with it. I mean, my bad. I tried, but I couldn't get with it. My Hoodie is definitely a song I fuck with. He didn't need the feature, you know what I mean? But the song very catchy, and you could tell he was definitely into hoodies. And I was like, wow, that's kind of dope. What the fuck was I listening to in 2008? Because I didn't find out about Childish Gambino for a minute. You know what I mean? I think it was Freaks and Geeks I found out about him. So as you said, that was later down the line. Moving on to number 8, Fresh. I definitely fuck with that. The beat is very unique. It has a nice sample. He got some witty lines in there. Of course, his flow is, he sounds like Wayne, definitely. But it was a good song. Till I Die is number 9. That beat was fucking crazy. I definitely fuck with it, man. The bars, I thought his flow was alright. The sample was dope as fuck. And his lyrics was creative as hell, man. I was like, holy shit. He's still the same person he is today back then, but he just, put it all in the pot and just had a dope recipe, you know what I mean? Moving on to So Sick with It. He did a couple name drops, a couple bars. He did name drop Tyler the Creator. It's definitely a crazy production, you know what I mean? But it's still a good song. I definitely fuck with it. Moving on to Assassins featuring DC and Nick. They got an old school vibe. Overall, it's a fucking crazy record, in a good way, not a bad way. Moving on to Baby Doll, the last track. Definitely a melodic beat. Definitely thought the sample was nice. He was honest in his lyrics, you know what I mean? Of course, female orientated. And the hook was okay. But overall, as being the projects that kind of he shunned away, I think it was Sick Boy. It was another one I'm gonna review by him, and it was one more. His first album that he dropped. It just those 3 projects that he definitely wasn't fucking with, and just basically want to dismiss them. And then it starts from Cul-de-sac, the EP and things of that nature. But going on, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 because that's even in '08, and it's still kind of ill in 2015. I like 9 of the songs. Production 7.5 out of 10. I definitely feel like this one was heavily influenced by Lil Wayne, on this project, and I'm definitely glad he stepped into his own kind of niche later down the line in his career. But this joint is definitely dope. But I like the next joint that he released in 2009, and I think that's the project that really did something for me. Is listening to it in 2015. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to that. But y'all let me know. Childish Gambino, Sick Boy. I think I found this on Spinnerilla. So if you haven't heard it, check it out. If you heard it, what did you think about it? Let me know. because I really don't hear nobody talking about these type of projects that he did, or even reviewing them. You know what I mean? Even back then, you dig. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I definitely fuck with it. It was definitely a different experience for me to listen to something like that. But other than that, it was a good project. All right, y'all. One.